we want to be there to make their shopping experience as convenient, as simple, as easy as possible. And crypto just happens to be the way right now that's checking a lot of those boxes.
Break the cycle of exploitation, break down the barriers to truth, break into the next generation of privacy, break free. Free to scroll without being monetized, free from censorship, freedom without fear. We deserve more when it comes to privacy. Experience the next generation of blockchain that is private and inclusive by design. Break free with Midnight. Visit midnight.network/break-free.
Looking for a faster, cheaper way to move money worldwide? Owlting, now listed on NASDAQ under the ticker symbol OWLS, is building the rails for stablecoin payments. Convert fiat to stablecoins and send money as easily as a text message. Learn more at owlting.com.
CoinDesk Bitcoin Treasury Month is brought to you by Genius Group, a Bitcoin treasury company listed on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker GNS. Genius is building toward a 10,000 Bitcoin treasury and just launched Genius Academy, featuring courses from Saifedean Ammous and more. Start learning for free today at geniusacademy.ai. Genius Group. Genius isn't measured in IQ, it's measured in Bitcoin.
Hey, it's Sam Ewen for CoinDesk. I'm here with Matt Bell of Bealls Retail, Danny McCabe from Flexa. We're going to talk about all things, here's this historic store. It's been around 110 years that is now accepting 99 different cryptocurrencies as payment, which I think really reinforces a trend that we've been seeing across the board of more and more people interested in crypto from a payments investment and just sort of general finance perspective. But first, Matt, give us like the TLDR on Bealls for anyone who might not know about your stores.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we are 110 and a half years old now. So we were founded by my great-grandfather in Florida. We're still in the same hometown that we were founded in back in 1915. And my grandfather took over the company, my dad, and then myself. And it's just been a long history of great retail success, kind of a success story in America. We're family owned and operated and have been for that period of time. And we have 660 stores in 23 states right now, and we employ about 15,000 people. We're the fourth largest retailer behind TJ Maxx, Ross, and Burlington in the off-price world, and we're the only privately held retailer. So that's kind of just, very brief background of our story. A lot's happened in the last 110 years, of course, but that's us in a nutshell.
I love it. I can't imagine what your great-grandfather would think, or your grandfather would think about taking Bitcoin and crypto for paying for your goods, but it's great to see that you're innovating. Danny, tell us a little bit about bringing this project online, kind of what it means for Flexa. You guys have done a tremendous amount in the payment space, more than most people. So, just give us kind of what's going on in that world.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Flexa's 8 years old. So I think in the crypto world, that's equivalent to 110 years in retail, right? But working with Bealls has been just wonderful. And that's part of the reason this all came to fruition. This didn't happen overnight. We've been talking and working with Bealls for well over a year now, maybe a couple of years, right, Matt? I think so. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of integration, a lot of talk, a lot of education on both sides. From Flexa's perspective, that's how we like to work with merchants, generally speaking. We definitely spend a lot of time with them, get to know them. For me personally, I was, originally general counsel at Flexa. Today I'm the CEO, of course. But from the general counsel days, we wanted to build compliance and a legal foundation first, so merchants were comfortable. Of course, we talked to regulators as well, and we talked to anybody and everybody in the payment space when it comes to digital assets we work with. So the integration with Bealls, I feel like we were prepared, we were ready, just as we are for a lot of our merchants. And then, of course, with great partners like Bealls, they're able to communicate and talk about it publicly is huge. Like interviews like this, getting together and talking is huge. And with Matt specifically, he's been a real champion of the integration, and that's wonderful to see and wonderful to have.
I'm interested, Matt, in when you think of I'm assuming are over the course of a year, millions of people who come into Bealls stores. Is this, a sort of trend that you guys want to bring to them, or you think it's something that consumers are going to sort of start thinking about as they add more crypto into their wallets with stable coins and meme coins and such? Or like, is it about them wanting to use it, and you guys just want to be a retailer that says, however you want to pay, we're here for you? Like, what's your involvement in crypto, Matt?
Yeah, good question. It's kind of both, and it's kind of the two things meeting at the same time. We attempt to meet the guest where they are, and we call our customers our guests. And so we want to be there to make their shopping experience as convenient, as simple, as easy as possible. And crypto just happens to be the way right now that's checking a lot of those boxes. It's more effective. The technology is better. It's cheaper for the merchant. You're holding an asset that's not being debased and, that's losing 10% of its value every year. So it seems like the things are just kind of coming together naturally.
I think it's really interesting that you have folks who are utilizing Bitcoin to buy cars and expensive homes, but now it sounds like they can come in and get a pair of Clarks for their feet. Like in your stores, it really allows crypto to be utilized in any way people want. I love you when you say that. Danny, when we think about it from what you guys see, not just with Bealls, but also with all the other retailers that you work with, how do you see any trends that are happening here in terms of how just the everyday consumer is utilizing crypto?
Yeah, we've seen consistent adoption. So for us at Flexa, again, we're 8 years into this, right? So when we started in 2018, we were kind of in beta mode and did some testing, but even then it was exciting. Then we launched in 2019 publicly. And from that time, we've seen consistent adoption. It hasn't been, consistent massive growth, but it's been consistent growth. So for us at Flexa, we want to make sure Matt and Bealls has that optionality, which is why we're open to, I think right now, 15 different chains and counting. And that's why we're not limiting it to 1 or 2 different assets or 1 or 2 different wallets. We're making this so any digital asset can be spent from any wallet on any chain. And that's optionality for Matt, optionality for Bealls, and therefore he can help his guests when they come to shop.
And Danny, just to ask one more follow-up there, I think it's interesting because, you talk to the average Bitcoin holder and they really focus on holding, right? They look at this as a store of value and not something they want to spend every day. On the other hand, we see the sort of meteoric rise of how much Tether or USDC or PayPal USD coin that's in the world. And that's really money that's just meant to be spent. So do you see, in your opinion, more spending eventually happening on the stablecoin route versus whether they're going to spend their Doge or Bitcoin?
Yeah. What's funny is folks are still spending Bitcoin more than anything else. So I do agree with you fundamentally that that's something folks want to store and hold. And I think it might just be because it was a trend and that's why Bitcoin was invented originally. Folks have been waiting so long to spend Bitcoin, its original purpose, and that they still continue to do that. I think that's changing quickly. I think obviously stablecoins are better built. Folks will hold their Bitcoin and they will spend stablecoins. So I do look to see stablecoins becoming the dominant force. But I think the underdog here, the one that's really going to come up and take first place, is going to be loyalty points of some kind, some type of merchant loyalty point or even merchant token. I think we'll see that in the future. It's not happening right now, but I know merchants are interested in how they can make and monetize loyalty points for their consumers. And I think that's something to keep a close eye on.
Looking for a faster, cheaper way to move money worldwide? Owlting, now listed on NASDAQ under the ticker symbol OWLS, is building the rails for stablecoin payments. With OwlPay, you can seamlessly convert fiat currency to stablecoins, send money as easily as a text message, and on or off-ramp globally. Learn more about Owlting at owlting.com.
CoinDesk Bitcoin Treasury Month is brought to you by Genius Group, a Bitcoin treasury company listed on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker GNS. Genius is on its way to hodling 10,000 Bitcoin in its treasury while educating the world on a Bitcoin-first future. Genius has launched the Genius Academy with courses from the likes of Saifedean Ammous, author of the Bitcoin Standard, Natalie Brunell, and many more. Start your Genius learning journey for free today at geniusacademy.ai and earn Bitcoin-backed gems. Genius Group. Genius isn't measured in IQ, it's measured in Bitcoin.
I love that you say that because, Matt, you brought this up also about these can be cheaper for the merchants as well. Are you seeing more retailers interested in how to sort of affect their margin by sort of being involved with crypto?
Really, it's pretty simple with the crypto conversation. It's faster, it's easier, it's better technology. There's not a middleman. It's not Visa and MasterCard charging the merchant whatever 2.5% so that they can give 2% cash back to the guest.
Yeah, Danny, just my last question for you is, you guys have been working together for about a year. If a customer wants to come in and start taking crypto payments, what's the timeline these days utilizing Flexa? Can it be done in weeks? Is it something that you really need to reimagine your whole back-end systems? What's the general timeline?
Yeah, we have so many different product offerings now that it can be done, virtually immediately, depending on how the merchant might want to accept. But Flex is really built to help merchants thrive in this next era of commerce. And what that means for us, and you touched on a few things talking to Matt there about legislation that's coming. I mean, when Genius, just a hint, the rumor of Genius started, we saw merchants get really interested. And when that passes, then you start to see a lot more roll in. The same things happen with clarity right now. Merchants are interested because there's a promise of clarity. The next thing is going to be tax reform. And we've talked about this publicly a few times, but we need de minimis relief tax reform. So when folks go and they buy a cup of coffee, it's not a taxable event. So really there's this three-pronged thing. It was Genius for stablecoins, clarity for market structure, and then tax reform. When merchants have all three of those things, and there's actual law controlling three of those things, I think they're going to start to really roll in and this whole thing just sort of explodes. So what that means for Flexa is we had to build this knowing this was coming. And so what we have now are a variety of options. So when merchants come to Flexa, if they want to integrate with something super quickly, we can get them up and running. And if they want to integrate with something that's more permanent in their system, we can do that as well. Of course, we have components, which is our software development kit that can go into different wallets. So then we're going to see more wallet onboarding too, not just merchants, but more wallets onboarding. And I think all this happens together. And now really is the time, as Matt said. It does feel right now like this is the time, and it continues to grow.
All right, Matt, final question. What product do you think people will spend their crypto on most in your stores?
Oh, gosh. Great question. Single product, you know, we outfit the family for less. The whole family shopping experience, you can outfit from clothing to accessories to apparel to shoes, you know, so handbags. I'll go with apparel to give you a simple answer.
Get your holiday outfit at Bealls, utilizing your Pepe token. And thanks for being on the show, guys. Really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thanks, Sam.